So, 2 weeks ago we honored Hanukkah. Anybody need a quilt? Yeah. Seriously, I got a couple of them coming out. 2 weeks ago we honored Hanukkah, talking about how there's more than we think. There's always more than we think. More light, more goodness. And how their story basically is that they expected one night of light, but got 8. They got what seemed like a miracle. And it's reminded all of us that there's always more than we think. Sometimes we think too small, we think too limited. But this one infinite source has no limitation. So to remind ourselves always there's more than we think, especially when we get caught in those moments of thinking there's not enough of whatever it might be. Last week we honored Christmas and Jesus, and I was talking about Jesus as a spiritual master, reminding us that the word Christ was not part of his name, but it was a title, and how each one of us can achieve the Christ, the anointed status, if you will, of becoming a spiritual master. What we understand of Jesus is that as his very humanness gave way to what he understood as the Father within him, he became the Christ, he became the enlightened and white one. And that we all could do that too. So as we more and more let the human limitation get put aside, not that we don't remain human, but we allow the consciousness of the Christ to become more and more present in us. Today we are honoring the solstice. And so I'm calling my talk today the symbols of hope. The winter solstice this year is this coming Tuesday, December 22nd. For those of you who get up really early to go to work and don't come home until a little bit later, sorry, all you're going to really see is dark. Because on that day it is the shortest amount of daylight and the longest amount of darkness. So if you're one who gets up at 5:30 in the morning to go to work and you're driving, it's not going to get dark. I mean, not going to get light out until after you're probably at work. By the time you come home, it's going to be dark again. Not my favorite day. However, that first day of winter, actually, believe it or not, that's not even still fall right now. That first day of winter, that very short amount of daylight, begins to usher in just exactly the opposite. So once we've got that really, really short daylight, after that it begins to change again and we begin to get more of it. Ancient peoples, various cultures, the Norse culture, the Roman culture, the Celtic culture, and all kinds of cultures have their own stories this time of year. They have their own gods that are the gods battle between the light and the dark. So there's lots of stories, and I'm not going to go into them. You can look all kinds of them up. You got the Holly King, you got the Oak King, you got all these different gods that are, so to speak, fighting, because that's what they understood, that it was the God of darkness versus the God of lightness. We understand it a little bit differently now, but the metaphor still kind of remains, that struggle within us. Many of the solstice symbols, though, have remained and have been carried on throughout all the years. For instance, the Yule log. You know how you eat like that cake that they make? It's called the Yule log. We light fires in our fireplace. That symbolism still exists. And it kind of offered the people two things. Light, for one. By lighting the Yule log, you've got light. But it was a symbol of hope for the sun returning. It was a symbol that the God of light would win out. So that symbol of hope, that symbol of light has stayed with us. The evergreen tree never went barren, never lost its greenery. It was a beautiful symbol of hope, of the eternality of life. Many people have these in their houses this time of year. That evergreen symbolism has stayed with us. So many of the ancient pagan rituals and customs and symbols have moved with us into what we now call Christmas. You know, a lot of the things that we think of as Christmas are actually borrowed. Lots of them are actually borrowed. That's just mentioning two, because I really want to get into how it applies to you and I. But today we are honoring the solstice, and our own beloved Margaret Owens. If you're not sure of the name, she is the other singer that we have that's the tall redhead. She created a PowerPoint. She created a very simple chant, and with it a very beautiful thing to watch. So boys, are we up and running? I'd like to show it to us. It's 2 minutes long, and if you want to chant along with her, you may. She said that chant came to her one day, just a couple days ago. It just popped right through her, and she got busy working on the video portion, and she shared it with a whole bunch of us and said, please share it, please pass it on. So I thought, what a beautiful way for us to honor the solstice today. Oh light, come light, lead us through the darkness. Lead us through the darkness. And so that's really where I'm going with this, is let's make it personal. Let's make that idea personal. The winter solstice is happening, but how do we go through that darkness? How do we go through what sometimes is referred to as dark night of the soul? Everybody has them. Some people have just little tiny glimpses and they're able to get right out. Some people stay in that sense of despair for a while. But the thing is, how do we get out of that? When the hope seems gone, and when the faith seems gone, and when we feel like it's a scary place and there's nobody that we can trust. When we have those, what do we do about them? Well, the easier thing to say is that we remember to invite the Spirit, but do we? Do we remember? Most of us would say, yeah, I remember, sooner or later. Being able to call forth that greater power is one of the greatest gifts that we have. To be able to give to ourselves when we're in a very dark, scary place. It may not instantly take away the scary place of it, but it gives us something to begin to hold on to again when we feel like that faith is lost. I like the words, make it welcome, because the truth is that divine spirit never leaves us. It is always here for us, but it feels to us like it has left us. So we're the ones that have to remember. We're the ones who have to invite it. We're the ones who make it welcome. You know, when we sing our song, Pour Yourself in Me, that's what I'm imagining. That we're not supposing that there's a spirit out there that has to come to us, but that we are making it welcome. Pour yourself in me. Let me make it welcome in a bigger way. For me, when I go to that dark night of the soul, that's the first place I go. And even if I can't feel it right away, I go there anyway. I get my mind to the place of remembering there's one source. That source is bigger than I am. That source has no limitation. And I may not go into that wonderful meditative feeling place, but my mind begins to lead me there. And that's where it begins, in our mind.